Everyone, Mandy Jay here. Welcome to my channel where we talk about spirituality, emotional health and healing and self-love and how to bring all of that to every area of our lives so we can live a more joyful human experience while we're here. Today I'm going to share with you an interview that I did with Veronika Maria. She interviewed me about parenting, specifically gentle parenting, conscious parenting, and how to handle children's emotions. This is a two-part interview, so this is only half of it, and you can find the other half on her channel, which we'll go ahead and link below. So we hope you enjoy. We sure enjoyed having this conversation. It was life-giving and a wonderful connection with each other as well. So without further ado, here it is. Thanks for watching.
Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to the Lunar Practice. I'm Veronika, and here on my channel, we talk about all kinds of topics around the completion process and parts work. Today, I have Mandy Jay with me, and it's a super big pleasure of mine because she's a completion process practitioner and a conscious parent. And I wanted to talk about her about children and their emotions. And I'm like so interested to see what she has to say because she's so passionate and active on Facebook about these topics. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. So hi, Mandy.
Hi, Veronika. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's such a big pleasure. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself? I mean, this is now your channel, but maybe just for the other people, little reintroduction.
Yeah, so I'm a flight attendant and completion process practitioner, and I'm just kind of getting my business started. I got certified as a practitioner just a couple months ago with you. And so revamping my YouTube channel and kind of deciding what I want my niche to be. I know that parenting is going to be a huge part of my channel. And so this video is actually going to kick off a parenting series. So I plan on doing like a five to 10 video series just about parenting. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now in my own journey.
Beautiful. I'm super excited about that because for me, parenting is still, coming later in life for me. And also, guys, we have another video on my channel. It's about gentle parenting where, oh my gosh, she shares such amazing insights about the parenting style that she does. And yeah, it's really great. So you can check that out. I'll link all the information below. So yeah, I wanted to talk to you about emotions because I always feel like when I do the work with my clients, a lot of them have never in their whole life learned how to deal with their emotions. And then when I see children in the streets, it's really crazy to me because often, like, for example, they get even shamed for crying. Maybe that's even more accepted. But then when it comes to, for example, anger, a lot of parents are really, really hurtful towards the children. And in my opinion, especially anger is like such a repressed emotion, and it's really dangerous actually because of this. Gabor Mate always says it's your immune system. It's the one that is protecting you. And when you have anger, you know that someone's violating your boundaries. And so I wanted to ask you, like, how do you view children's emotions?
Oh, such a big question, right? I personally view children's emotions as them. So children are their emotions. So however we treat their emotions is how we're treating them. No exceptions, because their entire experience when they're younger revolves around their emotions. So that's the short answer. And I want to speak to the anger thing too, but I know that we're going to talk about that in the later questions too. So maybe I'll just leave it at that.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, wow, that was such a good thing you said, because I think that's what a lot of people not realizing is that the emotion comes from the experience that the child is having and every person is having. And if you invalidate the emotion, you are invalidating their experience. And especially if you tell them that it's wrong to have the emotion, or you question it, like, why are you angry? It doesn't make sense. You basically tell them to question how they life. And I have clients now, they have been in, that's what's called gaslighting, guys,
Yes.
and I have clients, like, they come to me and they cannot form an opinion. They can't tell me is something treating me abusive or not, because they have been so severely shamed, especially for their emotions. And that's a problem, because if you don't know if you're in an abusive relationship, you have a real problem. You can't protect yourself.
Yep. Gaslighting is huge. I definitely want to talk more about gaslighting during this interview because it's really common and really misunderstood. I actually just read a book called Gaslighting, and I don't remember the author and I don't have it with me, but maybe we can link it. Um, it really lays out exactly what gaslighting is. And for those of us with gaslighting trauma, we need that because the trauma itself causes us not to be able to think clearly. And it basically results in an adult that doesn't trust themselves because you were taught that your emotions weren't accurate. And so as an adult, you feel like you're wrong all the time and you're constantly questioning yourself. And so that's why I highly recommend the book, because you can have like solid evidence of exactly what it is and you can reference it, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally. As Teal Swan always says, your emotions are an internal guidance system, and you're really not even able to listen to it, but that you are even able to feel it and then to trust it is highly important
Yes.
to make decisions, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so your daughter is almost 2 years old. And
Mm-hmm.
so how do you deal with her emotions?
So I want to really feel into this. So if she's having, I'm going to use an example from the other day. She has some books that I keep in her closet because they have pages that tear, right? And so we get them out every once in a while to play with. Well, I was cleaning up and trying to put laundry away, and she went into the closet and started getting the books out. And I didn't have time to let her play with them, right? So I had to set a boundary. I can't let you play with your books right now. And I closed the closet. And she got angry, right? And so in that moment, and she got really angry and really, I mean, I think it was definitely mixed emotions, not just anger, but definitely anger was present. And she was having a huge emotional reaction. And so in that moment, I got down to her level and I said, "You're angry right now." And I paused because that's a huge thing. And that really comes with your own healing and emotional attunement to know when to be quiet and let them just kind of have their feeling, right? Because it doesn't make sense to explain to her while she's in the midst of it, right? So I just mirror. First, I mirror, "You're angry right now." That makes sense. I use that phrase a lot. That makes sense. And then when it comes to a point where I feel like she's going to be receptive, and this is all feeling into her, right? This is all attunement. When I come to a point where I feel like she's ready to be receptive, I'll explain why. If I know the reason why she got angry, I'll mirror that to her. "You got really angry because you wanted to play with your books, and then I closed the closet. That's really frustrating." And then pause again, right? And then sometimes if she's having a really big emotion like that, I'll reach out to her while I'm saying, "You're angry right now." And sometimes she'll push me away. And in that case, I think a lot of parents get triggered by that. "I'm trying to comfort you and you're pushing me away," right? But this is what happens when we're angry, right? You have to feel into what happens to you. So when you're angry, do you want to be touched? Do you want to be hugged? No. So it makes sense. So I'll validate that. "You don't want me to touch you right now. I won't touch you. If you want a hug, though, I'll be over here." And I just stay present. I just stay present with her. I think a lot of parents will go, "Okay, well, I'll let you have your feelings," and they'll leave, but that's abandonment, right? So it's important to stay present and respect their boundaries. Her boundary in that moment is, "I don't want to be touched. I'm angry." So, I do my best to feel into her experience and validate it, right? Because from her perspective, it's all about taking on the perspective of your child. That's that would make you super angry. "I'm trying to play with my books and you close the closet." Like, it makes total sense that she's pissed, right?
Yeah.
So, I explained to her, we have to leave soon, so we don't have time to play with our books. "I'm so sorry. It makes sense that you're angry, right?" And usually that's enough. That connection and being validated is enough to just calm the emotion. And I noticed her just being a champ in regulating her own emotions. It's just crazy. And I've been doing this since day one. I mean, even when she was a baby and crying, I didn't go out of my way to fix the crying, right? I would do my best if I knew what the need was. Of course, we want to meet our child's needs, but in those moments where you don't know, there's so many moments when you have a baby, right, where you don't know, you're like trying to figure it out. And it's what's so important to do is default on connection, right? And so that's what I would do. I would just talk to her. I'm here. You're sad. I hear you.
Wow.
You know, I'm doing my best to figure out exactly what you need, just reassuring her, right? And I really do believe that sometimes babies even just want to be heard. They want to be allowed to have a voice. And the only voice they have is crying.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Wow.
so yeah, that was long-winded, but yeah, that's how I handle it.
Oh my God, you know what? When you described the situation with your daughter with the books, oh my gosh, like I was my inner child was like, what? Oh my gosh, like she got so soft. It was incredible, really. I was like, wow, because I had such an intense CP during our training where basically I got super triggered by the person who was practicing on me, and what it was that luckily one of the teachers helped her, Rowan helped her, and she said, do you want to have your space right now? And I was like, yes. And I had my space and I cried, and I realized it was about my mother, who often like forced me to especially help someone that I didn't feel connected with, because you know I'm the more intelligent one and stuff, and I'm the good one. And then when I came back, they were still there. So they gave me the boundary. They accepted my anger, and they were still there. They didn't go. So I think that often my mom's reaction, you know, and she didn't mean it. She just like she tried things, but she just went away. So I was basically told that, okay, when you show anger, maybe you can even express it, but then you don't get connection because that's not acceptable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So wow, I like it felt so good you describing that, like really absolutely beautiful.
Thank
And
you. It feels so good to be parenting her this way. I'm telling you, it's just, it feels so in alignment, right? With
yeah,
why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing. And it's just, it's all good. And the more I heal myself, the more I do CPs and treat my inner child that way, the more sense it makes to be treating her that way, right? And it just becomes natural because you are now treating yourself that way. You know, it just becomes so natural and it just flows.
absolutely. And as you said in the other interview, and really guys, I really recommend to watch this, because Mandy really explains like this style of parenting is called gentle parenting, and she explains exactly how to do it, and that you basically treat your children like your inner child. And I think that when I just heard this, I was like, yes, I want every person in this world to be treated like this, because it is so respectful, and as you said, you always offer connection, and you accept that person how they are. Like it's so beautiful, but still you're not, and that's the point about gentle parenting, you have very strong boundaries. You know, you did not, because she was being angry, allow her to have the books. No, because you have very strict boundaries, but you accept her emotion around it. You don't expect her, if you set a boundary, that she just accepts it, because this is what creates children that are super boundaryless, and that is dangerous. I do not want to have create a child that has no boundaries, because they are so endangered, basically, right? Like they are going out into the world without protection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, not just, and it's all about respecting your own boundaries and respecting theirs, right? In that moment when she's like, I don't want to be touched, I don't shame her for having a boundary.
Yes,
That makes
absolutely.
sense. You don't want to be touched. I'm going to respect that boundary. I'm not going to touch you right now.
Totally. And I think that
Learning, sorry, that her boundaries are okay.
absolutely, that's exactly it. And when you say like you default on connection, that's exactly it. Because like I think as a parent, as you said before, like you feel shame because you are offering connection but they don't want it, but actually accepting her boundary is offering the root.
Yes. Yes. Hallelujah, Veronica.
Yes, it's like I offer you connection, but under my condition. And basically, if you want to have connection, you have to lose your boundary. Like that's what is it like? How do you say it? Like emotional. What's the word? What's the English word? You know, when you are when you say you only get this if I do this.
Oh, I don't know.
Depending on the pipeline. Do you know like
Oh,
is there a hostage situation? What's
oh,
the word?
oh. Yeah, that's the word, hostage situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
And it's how you raise a codependent, right?
Absolutely. Exactly that's what you do.
Yep.
And wow, it must feel so terrible. And wow, I think you're gonna have like a super strong
Oh,
incredible daughter.
I hope so. Oh my gosh. I just can't wait to see what kind of adult she's going to be. Oh, she's going to teach me so much. Just as we keep going, I'm going to learn so much. And oh, I just can't wait.
Oh my gosh, I think it's gonna be really incredible.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
totally.
And this gentle parenting thing carries over into every relationship, Veronika. I ask myself if I'm doing that with my partner all the time. Even if I'm the one, even if he's reacting to something I did, right? I can validate that. I made you angry. I'm here. I want to hear why,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
right?
when you said that, I was like, because like I often get like my inner child gets like really fast angry because I'm so used to my boundaries being crossed basically. And now that I'm allowing my emotions, this anger comes. And I was just thinking, wow, like if
Yeah.
I think I'm going to teach this to my partner to say this because I think, he would be totally willing to do that. And the same with him. It's incredible, absolutely. And also this incredible mirroring. Like I see that you're angry and I can understand it.
Right.
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I noticed too, like with the gaslighting, um, it's super triggering for me. One of my biggest triggers is if I'm trying to explain my perspective to someone and I don't feel like they're getting it because that's my wound, right? My perspective wasn't taken into, my perspective wasn't seen. I wasn't heard. I wasn't understood. And so when I feel like someone's not hearing me or understanding me, whoosh, ooh, that's a biggie for me. And so being able to share that with my partner, I'm getting triggered right now because I don't feel like you're understanding me. Can we take a break and come back and maybe try again? Or, knowing your triggers and stopping before you start the whole back and forth blaming thing is so huge.
Uh,
And Ryan and I are working on it every day, but we're getting better and better at it. And I just wanted to make the point that like this gentle parenting thing, and that is one thing I learned from CP, is empathize and validate, not just with your kids, with everyone you come into contact with. They've never had that,
totally. I
right?
think
Most of
for
them have not had that.
it's a completely new experience. So like, what are you doing? I'm very confused right now, but it feels good.
Right? Oh my God, it's so true. This feels really good, but is it safe?
No, but honestly, sometimes when I'm working with clients and I validate like one time and they start crying.
Yes.
Just because I say one
Oh,
time,
me too.
yeah, it's like I see your pain, and you're like, what? Like, or it's okay, like something like this. I would feel the same, or something like this.
Yeah, or
Or
it makes sense. That one always gets me when my practitioner says, that makes sense. I'm like, it does? Thank you so much.
yeah,
I
totally.
love
Because
this knowing laugh we're having right now because it's like, ugh, it is funny on a level because it's funny because it's true and we're both feeling into it, right? It's just crazy.
yeah, absolutely. And what a healing thing it can be like for and the thing is also, what people never understand is like validation is not hard because you know exactly what the other person went through. Like it's not a hard practice to do it with anyone. I actually have this big plan that I'm gonna make a really big validation workshop, and I'm gonna do it so much because like every human on this world, like if you know validation, and it doesn't take long to know it, boom,
Yes,
it's incredible for
absolutely.
relationships. it will be like the best thing that has ever happened to you.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
cool. So next question. Yeah, you talked a little bit about your triggers. So you said already that like you're getting quite aware about when you're getting triggered, right? So what do you do exactly when your child's, especially their emotions, when they trigger you? Because I get a lot of people are actually by the emotion themselves triggered because, for example, they were never allowed to express anger, and then when a child gets angry, they feel shame because they could never let themselves be angry.
Yep. So for me, because I feel like I'm so blessed and so lucky that I did most of my healing work before having a child. And because of that, she doesn't trigger me often. Um, but I have noticed that when I do get triggered, the common one is if she's having a big emotion and it's lasting longer than usual. Because I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I must be doing something wrong if she's not moving through this emotion. What am I doing wrong? And then the shame cycle comes in, right? And so in that moment, I basically model for her what to do. Like, okay, this is an opportunity. Now I'm having a big emotion. What do I want to show her right now when I'm having a big emotion? And so I'll say, oh man, I'm feeling really upset too. I'm going to sit here and take a few deep breaths. If you want to do it too, you can. And if I regulate myself, right, I actually feel the trigger coming up talking about it. If I regulate myself and just take a few deep breaths, she sees that and she feels it. And it's all energetic, right, Veronika? Like our babies are so in tune with our energy. It's insane. So when she feels my trigger coming down, naturally she feels into that energy coming down, and she naturally regulates herself. And I'll see her doing deep breathing now and then, which is super cute.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know exactly that. I will watch these 2 interviews when I have children because this information is gold. Like so beautiful. Because I was really asking myself, and I think a lot of parents struggle, because I feel like parents always think you can't show your emotions to your children. And when I think about it, like I was always really happy when my parents were like saying, "Well, I'm really sad right now," because then I understood what was happening. But if your parents are like trying to hide it, and the same is, when they're like fighting or something like this, I mean, that's something going on, and because you don't know, it makes you feel really, really scared.
Yes. And it makes you feel, it's almost like a overarching gaslight, right? It makes you feel like there's something wrong with me because I have emotions, right? And so that's the other thing I want to add to this, Veronika, which I had written down somewhere, but this is a good time to say it, is that talking about your emotions rather than talking about their behavior. So like, here's an example. Harper's chucks her cup on the floor, and it's a huge trigger for me. And I think she knows it, which is why she does it, right? Children want to get reaction out of you, right? It's their way of seeing, especially when they come to be 2 years old, they're experimenting with their power to elicit reactions out of other people. It's why 2-year-olds in general love to tell you what to do, because they're learning, oh my gosh, my voice makes a difference in what I see around me. So when I tell my mommy, when we're playing and like Ryan does something silly, she'll be like, "Mommy, do it." Because it's like, oh my gosh, when I say something, then my outer world changes. Like, imagine what that experience is like for the first time, right? It's cool. It makes total sense that she wants to see that power in herself, and it shouldn't be shamed, right? So back to what I was saying is like, she'll chuck her cup on the floor. And so rather than addressing the behavior, which is, don't do that, I'll explain my emotion. Oh, that's really frustrating. Now I have to pick this up. That's so frustrating for mommy. It makes me angry, right? And if I'm mirroring to her what she feels like when she's angry, and then I tell her how I'm feeling, she knows what that is. She's learning, okay, I know what angry is because my mom told me when I was angry last time. So now I know how my mom is feeling. You know,
Wow.
and as we continue this journey, it it's natural empathy, it's natural connection. And your child, if respected and taught these emotions, is not going to want to make you angry. The key is not shaming them into doing a certain behavior. The key is creating such a bond with your child that they want connection. They know what's going to get them connection, which is not making your parent angry, right?
Yeah. Wow, I'm absolutely flabbergasted by like everything you say. It's like I started to do this I think a bit unconsciously. I started to do this practice when Teal talks about what feels soft to you and what feels hard, you know. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's basically this like that our society is so hard.
Mm.
And a lot of things we do are actually leading to separation. And so we should always feel what feels soft because that leads to connection. And everything you're saying, it's like I'm kind of like waiting for a hard answer, you know, because this is for me what often like parenting and, you know, coaching and all this, oh my god, like now very frustrating like self-help industry is. But everything you say is like feels so soft. It just feels like wow, like you can breathe, and you're being completely authentic and honest about it. And you're, yeah, as you said, it's a win-win situation. You are teaching the child, you're being honest with her, you're not shaming yourself or her. And wow, it sounds so incredible. I'm really absolutely like amazed.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I can't even really put into words how good it feels. It just, it feels so good.
Yeah, what kind of like want to go back in time and have you like as my mom.
Thank you. What a huge compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, so cool, honestly. Maybe you can be the cool aunt to my children, who knows.
I would love it. I would love it.
Cool, awesome. So what advice would you give to parents that have a really hard time allowing their children's emotions?
Be gentle with yourself. Know that the reason you're having a hard time is because of your own experience in your own childhood and your own programming. Whatever emotions you're having make total sense. So that's step one, is validating and empathizing with yourself. I'm having a really hard time, and that makes sense. And then only after that do you start to come up with solutions. You have to move through that first. Empathize and validate with yourself. Just if that's all you do for the first couple weeks, like if you've never done this and that's all you do for the first couple weeks, focus on yourself. Bring the focus back to yourself because everything else is going to fall into place. And then, try the deep breathing techniques. And then after you've empathized and validated and come down from your trigger, which you inevitably will, reflect. Why did that trigger me? Dig deep. And this can be really hard at first. This is why CP is so awesome, because you literally use the exact trigger to access the memory that needs to be healed. This is why I'm so passionate about CP. If you are trying to heal your relationship with your child, use the present day triggers you're having with your child right now. That is the universe calling you to heal exactly what needs to be healed. And that's why CP is so awesome, because you can use the exact trigger. Like, oh, this is what I'm being called to heal today, right now. Let's do a CP on it. It's absolutely life-changing.
Yeah, definitely. And as Till says, the children are put into the family so that the parents can actually expand. So the children will trigger your exact traumas that you have to
Yes.
heal. And you don't even need to think about it, what to do. And that's really beautiful. And I think it's also such a nice perspective to have on kids, that
Mhm.
they actually are like often the key to our healing.
Yes.
Oh, such beautiful beings, man. I
Yeah.
really love children. Yeah. Yeah, wow, really, really great tip. And I really love how also loving you are, because I think that's really the most important thing for everyone. Whenever you want to develop something and make something better, like self-love and love towards the thing you want to heal is the most important step. Because as you say, like in the other interviews, you put it so beautifully, if you try to shame yourself into changing your behavior, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be a horrible experience, and it's not the goal you're looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's not going to work in the long run.
totally.
You're just going to end up feeling worse about yourself, which is going to make you more triggered more often.
Absolutely. You know what? I feel like this interview has been really, really round.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? Or do you want to ask? Do you want to answer one more question?
Oh, is there another one, or did we hit them all?
There's like one more question. We can edit this out later. But do you want to answer? Do you still have energy?
Oh yeah, I could talk about this all day, girl. This is like who I am through and through. Yes, bring it on.
Cool. I actually have two more questions, and let's just do it all. I mean, it's a great topic, and I'm sure people dig it. Like, whoa. Okay. Okay. So the next question is, how do you create a safe space for your child to express their emotions?
Okay, this is a really good one actually, because we're living in the emotional dark age, as Teal says. Truly, the world is not a safe space to experience your emotions. Like, I know that sounds really sad, but it's really true right now. It's really true. And so Harper's safe space is me. I'm her safe space to experience her emotions. So if we're like, let's say we're at a party or we're at the store or, anywhere where there's a crowd or somebody that's judging, I, if I need to, I remove her from the room or remove her from the situation so that she feels safe to express herself. So like if we're at the store and truly, Veronika, I've never had to do this. Maybe a couple times at a party, I've taken her into the other room. I'm like, we're going to be back. We'll be back in just a minute. And I'll take her in there. And, because I think a lot of people, they get uncomfortable with the silence, the part where I'm like, you're angry. And then I'm silent. They want to fill the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Totally.
Because we're all uncomfortable with kids' emotions. We've all been programmed to be uncomfortable with them. So it makes total sense that they're having that reaction, right? Let's validate that. And so, but my priority is creating a safe space for her, right? So I'll take her to the other room and I'll let her process it without everybody else's energy intervening. Whoa, you get that reaction a lot. Other adults will be like, whoa, okay.
Gosh.
But it's so common, right? And it's because we've all been taught, acting, that's not okay to act like that.
Absolutely. And I think that makes it also really hard for parents sometimes, because there's all this judgment like everywhere all the time on them, And yeah, I always feel like I definitely don't want to have a 2-year-old and live somewhere in a city where, for example, here in Europe, we have a lot of public transport. Like, oh my gosh, like it's horrible. Like
Yes.
these poor, yeah, especially single parents, because you have to take your child everywhere. No, it's really hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is a really great tip. And then, I mean, obviously in your home, you have created such a safe space for her to express, which is like absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I always encourage my clients, because I have also one, she has like a teenage boy, and he's quite angry because he got bullied at school and stuff. And it's funny because she is also, I feel like, someone that has a lot of suppressed anger. So I actually encouraged her that they together let out the anger also physically, as a 12-year-old, because it could also be a very bonding experience, to make it okay to express that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I almost everyone I encourage to start martial arts or something, because people in their adult life, unfortunately, because they don't have a safe space to, like what you describe, it's so beautiful, because your daughter probably will have such a good relationship with her anger. So all this what comes up now, and a lot of people I see she will have, but the people who have a lot of suppressed anger, it is so important to really go there, because it's very empowering. And of course also, like, if you want to stop, for example, having angry outbursts, that's the way to go. It's not the way to go to be like, I can't be angry, like,
Yes,
yeah.
and it's crazy, right? How it's actually the suppression that makes more anger. It's like counterproductive. So it's like I notice when as soon as and I've done this in a CP before, where I expressed my anger. And we did this in Vipassana. She let me, and maybe we should explain what that is. So emotional Vipassana is the part of CP where you sit in the emotion. You allow your body to process the emotion the way that it's meant to do, rather than push it away. You let it in, right? And so I had anger that needed to be heard, validated, understood. And as soon as it's heard, validated, understood, expressed, it turns into another emotion.
Wow, yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so true. And this is why the other thing I want to say about anger and toddlers, especially, I plan on getting Harper. I haven't done it yet, but like when she's angry and she needs, that energy needs to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I encourage her, and especially if she's like hitting me, which every toddler is going to hit you at some point. So the way I treat her when she hits me is, I can't let you hit me, right? You're angry. That made you angry, but I can't let you hit me. What can we do instead? And usually I'll offer her to hit a pillow. Do you need to hit something? And she's not an angry kid. it just, it just, when you allow it, it just dissipates.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so
And
amazing to
the
give it
reason I'm hesitant to even say that is because I don't want that message in and of itself kind of says anger's not okay, right? Because we're saying, oh, it's good that it dissipated. So I'm hesitant in saying that. But the truth is, anger doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good to be angry. So having it dissipate is a good thing. But to do it, it has to be heard and expressed and validated. There's just no other way.
Yeah, and the thing is, what you're describing is that you are setting really clear boundaries, and you're absolutely respecting your daughter's boundaries. And the point is, anger is our immune system, and only basically the function of anger is that it comes when our boundaries have been violated. So if you treat your child's boundaries really nicely, like the anger has no function,
Right.
and that's the point of it. And so, like, I think that, yeah, when you were saying that anger dissipates, I can really understand why that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like anger is a result of disconnection, right? Well, it's anger is is our internal guidance system saying that's not okay, like you said, a boundary. But then if you shame it, now you're angry about disconnection.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think that, as I said, I'm actually super glad that when my child was angry, I would want to validate that, because I always wanted to be able to feel anger. I mean, there's a reason why, for example, so many women that are in rape situations, they can't defend themselves. They go into freeze because all their lives they have been shamed into anger. You teach this to people, and I want my child to be have this anger easily accessible, so that
Yeah.
they can defend themselves.
Yeah.
But
Thank you for
obviously,
adding that. Yes.
yeah, but obviously, if I'm respecting their boundaries 100% and validate their emotion, they won't have the anger towards me, and that's beautiful. But I want them to have it when they need it. Yeah,
Yes. I love that. Thank you for adding that,
yeah,
because it does serve a purpose, a really important one.
exactly.
Hmm.
And I think that's one of the reasons why we have so many issues with anger. If it's like too angry people, or people who constantly get abused, basically, because, yeah, they literally can't defend themselves. It's like a body without immune system constantly is sick. It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. And so the last question I want to ask you, like, what would be your 3 tips for parents that would like to improve the relationship, and maybe even the emotional relationship with their children?
I wrote these ones down. So And this is going to be a little bit repetitive, but that's okay. Sometimes we need to get these concepts drilled in, right? One, default back to connection and collaborative solution finding. So if you're in the midst of disconnection and big emotions and you're triggered and they're having feelings, take a deep breath and use that filter. Is what I'm about to say representative of connection and collaborative solution finding? Number two, improve your relationship with yourself. You know, if there's one takeaway today, it's that love yourself first. And the last one is reflect on limits and boundaries you're setting. Ask yourself if they're age appropriate and reasonable, and then set those limits calmly and confidently. One of my mantras, which I got from Janet Lansbury, which is an author, and she has a podcast called Unruffled. It's a respectful parenting podcast, which is very similar. I really see them as synonymous, respectful parenting and gentle parenting. It's called Unruffled, and she addresses, you can search her podcast for a specific issue, and she'll probably have an episode on that specific issue that you're having with your own child. Basically, people write a letter, and they ask her a question, and then she answers it in the episode. But the mantra that I take from her is, I am a calm, confident leader. And so I want every action I take to be representative of that. So that's what I would say. Use that mantra, be gentle with yourself, work on healing yourself and loving yourself, and everything else is going to fall right into place.
Wow. Yeah, that was really beautiful. Ending words.
Thank you.
You so much.
Thank you, Veronika. This has been a life-giving conversation. I love it.
Literally, parents are the life givers, and they are the future changers, right? They are the ones that really can influence how our society will be in 100 years.
Mm-hmm. And look at the connection we're getting right now, which I love.
Be my mommy, Mandy. Be my
mom. All the connection. I want it all.
All right. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful interview, man. I learned so much.
Thank you. Me too. You said some things too that I was like, yes, I love that perspective. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was a real joy. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Like, I hope you learned a lot. And as Mandy said, she will have a whole series on parenting. I think we can super much look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, hop over to my channel, watch their video. And apart from that, I wish you a super good day.
Yeah, and if I could say one more thing too, Veronika, one of the things I want to do in this parenting series is address questions and concerns about gentle parenting. So if you have any questions based on what was talked about today, please find me on Facebook. It's Mandy Jay, Jay, and send me a message, send me a friend request, and let me know what your biggest questions are, because I really want to dispel the myths. There's a lot of myths and there's a lot of judgment around gentle parenting, and I want to just put truth out, into the world about this, and just, make people more aware of what it actually is. So message me. Exactly. Message her, or also maybe comment on YouTube here. Yeah. Give it a like, and yeah, follow Mandy on YouTube and Facebook. All the best, guys. Thanks, Veronika.